Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today we are making 2 cards and we're making some interactive ones. They're going to be sardine cans or sardine tins. So fun, and I just love them, fell in love with them. These are new from Hero Arts. In fact, everything we're using today is from Hero Arts. And the Big Mouth Sardine Tin die set is the die set that coordinates with an interactive element to where you can open and close the sardine can. So fun. So we're going to be doing a Big Mouth slider. It's really easy to do. Making a sardine tin. And then we have the well-preserved stamp set that goes with it. There's elements in here that you can decorate the tin can with. You can stamp fish, and then there's greetings like birthday fishes, party tin night, T-I-N night. It's so cute. So we're going to make a birthday card using this. I'm also using a background stamp that's new. It's called the White Stripe. One of those sets that are universal for so many different things. Just love it. And then I'm bringing in a fancy die. This is not new. This has been around for a while, so I dug through my stash. It's called the chain linked fancy die, and this I thought looked like fish netting, and I think it's going to go really good with the sardine tin can. I'm also going to make a bonus card. Now, an extra card today using just the Big Mouth sardine tin and then also the stamp set. I'm not going to use the mechanism, so if you're not into Big Mouth sliders, I'm going to show you a fun way to create a surprise card that I think is going to be so much fun. I have it, at least it's in my head. It's going to be really fun. So we'll see how it pans out. It might be a disaster, but if it's a disaster, I won't show the second card. But let's jump in and get started with doing some die cutting. Okay, we're going to die cut with our Big Mouth sardine tin. This actually comes with a placement guide too, which is really nice. Okay, you can use some mirror cardstock, silver mirror cardstock for the project that I'm making today, but I thought I'm going to bring in some foil for my kitchen. So go to your kitchen, grab your roll of foil, and we're going to make some cardstock with it. So I have a piece of, well, let me grab some A2 panels. To do that, I have a couple A2 panels of white cardstock, and we're going to add some adhesive to both of these. You can use glue, your tape runner if you want. I'm going to use, and I have this big old roll. I've had it for a while, and I'm afraid if I don't use it, then it's going to lose its tackiness. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to these sheets here. We'll do that to both of them. I know Spellbinders has some white liner sheets. I actually have some, but again, I'm just going to use up what I have on this roll today. If you do have an adhesive roll, you want to make sure that no adhesive is overhanging on the edge, because when you go do your die cutting, it's going to stick to your plate. Okay. So now we have adhesive backing. I'm just going to remove the release paper, and then we're going to bring in some foil. I have a roll of foil, but I also have a box of the foil pop-ups. We use them for the barbecue. So I'm going to use those today. This is what they look like. They're just sheets that pop up out of a box. I like these because there's a little bit of texture on them. But I don't know if the texture is going to shine through, because when I die cut these out, I'm just going to put this on my foil. And if you have wrinkles, that's okay. I'm going to flip them over, and I'm not even going to remove the excess. Well, maybe I'll just tear the excess off here. Okay. I'm just going to remove the overhang, and when you remove what's overhanging, this part don't have to be perfect because we're going to do some die cutting. Now in the Big Mouth sardine tin, we have this piece here. I'm going to cut this out, And then we have a frame piece. And I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to actually turn it this way. And again, don't worry about the wrinkles because it's going to get wrinkly. It's going to get more wrinkled, especially if you're cutting plates on your die cut machine or worn. Okay, you don't have to change them out because I think it's just going to add texture. So while we're die cutting out the foil, I'm also going to die cut out a tab here. And then I'm going to bring in some white cardstock. I'm going to cut out an extra tab. I'm going to layer my tabs together for stability. So one tab with foil, one tab with white cardstock. And then I have an anchor that I'm going to die cut out with the foil too. Now as far as the foiling goes, this is all the die cutting that we're going to do with the foil. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Now I have everything die cut out. Now this piece here, there is a little circle here on top that you can add your little pull tab to. It goes right over the top. Before I do that, what I'm going to do is layer both of these tabs together. This is not necessary, but I think if it's a pull tab, I think this is just going to give it stability. Now after this is done, I'm going to add a little glue at the very top of this. Here, just at the top. And then I'm going to layer this on this piece that has the little wings. Okay, let's just layer this. And you can see how wrinkled. You can see how bad my plates need to be replaced. So, so the worse, I think the worse off your plates are, the better. So I think that looks so neat. If you want it to be smooth, I would then just change out your plates. It will be smooth if you do that. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing to this piece because I like texture on my cards. So we already have the texture of the foil, but I want a little bit of metal. So I'm going to bring in my Crop-A-Dile. And I'm going to, the hole that is in the pull tab, I'm going to make a little bit bigger. And then I want to add an eyelet over this. I have some eyelets here. Now I've had these for 100 years. I wish I had a silver one. I didn't. But I do have like a pewter, I don't know, a brushed silver. I'm going to add that. And then I'm going to secure it. There we go. So now our pull tab is double in strength and it's secured also not only with glue but also one of those eyelets. That's what the back looks like. Okay. Giving me a little bit of texture. Now with my anchor, I'm going to bring in some cording. This is Simon Says Stamp's metallic silver cord. I'm just going to take a piece of this and then I'm going to tie a bow on the anchor. Now I'm going to put this to the side along with both of these elements, okay? And we're going to do a little bit more die cutting and we'll bring back our sardine tin. And there's these long fishies in here and we're going to cut these out with some colored cardstock. So I have a green, a teal, and an orange. There's 3 of them there. We'll cut this out with black cardstock. We're also going to do some stamping too. So I'm going to stamp these 2 fish. Let's go ahead and grab an acrylic block. I'm going to stamp one of my fish with my Distress Oxide ink. This is Peacock Feathers. Stamp this. Lovely. We'll put this one back and then I'm going to stamp the second fish. This one we're going to stamp with an orange ink. I'm using my Spiced Marmalade. Okay. I'm also going to stamp Officially Old. I think this is so much fun. We're going to stamp Officially Old. Let's stamp birthday fishes. Okay, we're also going to stamp to my nearest and dearest. And in our stamp set, it's so cute. There's a little circle that says Holy Mackerel. I'm going to stamp this not on the white cardstock. I'm going to stamp it on the green. And then I'll die cut this out. We'll add a little extra green. Okay? I'm just going to put this back. We'll grab the coordinating dies. And I love that you can cut out the greetings. And I love you can cut out the fish too. So I'm going to do all of my die cutting all at once. There's even a little circle for this one. Even the secondary sentiments too, there's a die for. So that's that. Now as far as the fish go, I did create the eye, and then I did back it with another piece of white cardstock. So all I do is add a little dot of glue on the eye, and then we can add that little black eyeball on the top. This is how I'm doing it. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but that's how I'm gonna do it. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use some. I'm gonna cut out a piece of white cardstock here, a scratch piece, and put it behind the eye. And then I'll add some more glue. And then we can just back it. It's just going to give a little bit of height to these fish. Now this part is all done, so we're going to put that with our sardine tin. Okay, we're going to build all of our elements and then put it together. I think that's just the easiest way. Now for my background on my card base, that's where our wide stripe bold print is going to come in. I'm going to bring in my stamping positioner, and then I'm going to be using my Spellbinders Fog cardstock. We're going to layer this on our background, and then I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive here and here. I like to bring the back forward, give it a good press, and then my cardstock should be exactly where I want it. I'm kind of going for a tone-on-tone look, so I'm going to bring in some more Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to be using my pumice stone, and we're just going to add some ink here. Lovely. That gives me a nice tone-on-tone background. Okay, we'll put this to the side. Now in our sardine tin die set, we have another die. We've already die cut out the frame in this piece. We're going to use this piece, and this is where our template is going to come in. I'm going to line up my placement guide over my cardstock so it's positioned, and then I'll take this die and I'm going to layer it here. And this way I know my die is perfectly positioned on this cardstock. So I'm going to tape this down with a low tack tape, and then I will run this through my die cut machine, and I'll have a perfectly placed window. So this will be the front of our card. Okay, and then this piece, we're going to use this for our next card. Okay, now we're going to take our big mouth slider, and I'm going to die cut this out with white cardstock, and I'm going to cut it out with a piece of pop-up foam also. Now I'm going to glue the cardstock on top of my pop-up foam. This is just going to help maintain the pop-up foam shape. So I'm just going to layer it together. Sometimes when you die cut out your pop-up foam, it loses its shape, and if it does and you have a little excess on the bottom, you'll want to trim that off. Down here I have a little bit overhanging. Let me show you. Just a little bit. So I am going to remove that from my scissors. I'm just going to trim that away with my scissors. it was about those size. Okay, you just want to make sure that this is basically an A2 panel, so you want to make sure that it stays that way. Now I think we have all the elements that we need to create our first card. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have my card base. Okay, first off, I'm going to use the Sardine tin placement guide one more time. I'm layering this directly on the front of my card base. Okay, and then not with the pull tab piece, but with this piece, the inside of my frame, I'm going to flip it over. We're going to add some adhesive here. Going to add some glue. Okay, and then I'm going to lift up my placement guide and I'm going to place this where it goes, here. Just slide it under there. This way it guides you on where to put that piece. So I know this is perfectly matched with this and this. Okay, and then with the frame portion, we're going to add some glue behind here. Okay, and then with this, we're going to line this up over our window. Now, remember in the beginning I said this kind of looked like fishnet? What I had did was added some adhesive behind a piece of white cardstock, and I die cut this out. Okay, so I'm just going to remove it here. Punch out these little pieces. So now I think this looks pretty cool too. Okay, so this is adhesive back now. I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it to this top piece with our stripes. We'll add a little here. I will trim away the excess. This part you can completely skip, but I do like to add a little bit of extra. I do like to add a little bit of extra to cards. And then we will add this top corner too. We can keep this for our next card. So now we have a little bit of texture and netting on the front of this. Now with this piece, I'm going to add on the foam portion, I'm going to go ahead and add some glue. Just want to make sure it's glued really well. And then I'm going to layer this on the front of my card base. Remember, it's A2, so we're just going to go corner to corner with it. Nice thing about glue is you can shape it. Now we're going to add our fish. Okay, we have some sardines in our tin. So fun. Okay, now this, we're going to take this piece, and all we're going to do with this is place this inside over the sardines. Now I'm going to add glue to the edges here over that foam and cardstock that we popped up. And then we can take this piece and just layer it right over the top. Just like that. Very easy to do. And I just love the crinkled look. I love the texture that adds. Now we're going to take the Officially Old, and I'm going to place it up on top here underneath the pull tab. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and I'm going to add this fish in this corner. You want to make sure that you're not adding glue in the top, the lid portion, okay? And then with this fish, I already glued down my anchor. I'm going to flip it around and we're going to add some foam tape. Now's the fun part. Are you ready? I'm going to take the pull tab. I'm going to pull this down, and look at our sardine can is open officially. Look how cute that is. I just think that is like so much fun. I just love the way this looks. I am going to take my birthday fishes And I'm going to add it on the inside here. We're just going to layer it. And then to close it, all you do is slide it up. How fun is this? Okay, and then that's all there is to that. For this secondary sentiment, I decided I'm not going to use this. Okay, so we'll put that to the side. One thing that I was missing was my holy mackerel. We're going to add this to here. I'm just going to tuck it. You just want to make sure if you add anything that you're not adding it to the lid. If you do, you want to make sure that you're adding it above here. For finishing touches, I'm going to bring in some Hero Hue sequins. I've had these for a while. I don't know if Hero Art still has these, but we're going to add some of these. These are called Frost. Let me bring in my tin here. Just added a couple, and that will finish off that card. This is so much fun, opening and closing our little sardine can. How fun is this? And I'm glad I doubled up on that. But just close it, and then you can open it to have a surprise message in there. So much fun. Okay, let's move along to our next card. Our next card's going to be just as fun, and we're basically going to use the same elements. So this one's going to go by pretty quick. Okay, let me go ahead and grab them. For this next card, we're not using the big mouth slider. Okay, so you don't need this special Kinetic die. Okay, so I have everything die cut out. I mentioned we're going to use this from our last card. With this piece, I'm going to use my scissors. And we're going to trim off about 1/2 inch off the top. You could have also used the inside of this piece too. What I did, this is peridot cardstock, and I had stamped with our stamp with Twisted Citron. So we have a 2-tone, but it's really light. Okay, I'm going to take the frame, and we're going to layer this over the front. I already added my netting. I just added 2 pieces, one to the bottom right corner and one to the top left. We're going to layer this on here. Okay, while that grabs, we're going to take our placement guide and our card base. Again, I'm going to line this up on my card base. And then with the inside piece of the frame, I'm going to add some glue. And we're going to layer this using our placement guide. It's very easy to do with the placement guide. Tack it down, give it a good press, and you're golden. Okay, for this card, I thought we would use some fish, and I stamped Party Tonight. Okay, but I thought this would be fun if we put something inside of it. You could probably, it might be a tight fit, but you could probably add a gift card. Okay, just put it in there and then layer that on top. You could probably get away with that, okay? Or you could take cash. I'm going to put cash in here, okay? And then you could put cash underneath it. Just like that, okay? We're going to put this up here with this, and then we're going to bring in another piece of foil. I have one here. I'm actually going to trim it down. We're going to trim this foil down. And this part doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe a little bit off the top here. Okay, so I know this foil is going to fit over the window. Okay, you can actually hold it over the window and press if you wanted to. Get that imprint. You can see the imprint. That makes it even nicer. We're going to lay it flat, and then I did double up on this pull tab also. The imprint is actually really nice, so if you want to go over the top, imprint it, that's going to be fabulous. I'm going to flip this over because we do have a little bit of a matte side, and that's where this piece is going to come in. I'm going to add some glue. You could use your tape runner if you wanted to, but I'm going to add this at the very top, like so. you're just going to layer it inside that indented frame. You see the indented frame? Very, very simple so far, right? And then I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to add a little glue to the top of my pull tab. And then making sure this pull tab is going to be on that cardboard. You can even fold it. So you see the cardstock behind it? Making sure that this pull tab is on it. I'm going to glue it down. And then I'm going to do the same thing we did with the first card. I'm going to add an eyelet. Looks kind of funny. We just have a piece of foil. All wrinkly foil. Okay? But it's going to be so much fun. I think the recipient is just going to love this. Okay. Flatten it out. Flip over this panel. Put some adhesive behind here. I'm going to use my tape runner. Now I'm going to take this panel with tape behind it, and then we're just going to add this right over the top, and then give it a good press. Now we have foil. I'm going to add a little bit of my sequin mix right over the inside of my sardine can here. Okay, now's the easy part. All I'm going to do is take some foam tape and I'm going to go along the edge. So now I have foam tape along all the edges, only one layer. I think only one layer is all that you're going to need. And then I'm going to place this directly on the front of my card base. Smush it down. Okay, and it's not even bulky. You see there? Okay, it looks like so much fun. I need to do one more thing before we call this card good. I'm going to bring in my craft knife. Okay, and then I'm going to cut a slit at the very top, very gently. You want to do this to where it's not noticeable. Just cut a slit at the very top. Like this. You think your sequins are going to fall out, but they're not. But that's very important. Otherwise this won't work, okay? And then, let me go ahead and grab my glue. And then I went ahead and did the same stamping as we did with our first card, but this time I'm going to put it in this corner on this side. And then for this one, I stamped the greeting. It says, "You're so well preserved." And then this one I'm going to layer. Okay, this one's going directly on the foil. We don't have a mechanism, so it's okay. I did stamp Holy Mackerel once more, and I'm going to add it over here. There we go. Now all we have to do is embellish. On the outside we'll add a few little sequins. Okay, this one we can actually add the sequins to the foil. I think I'm just going to use the blue ones today. And then that's all there is to that card. So we have this card using our big mouth slider. You just pull it down, it reveals a hidden message in the sardine can, right? And then this one, we didn't use the big mouth slider. We just used the big mouth sardine tin die set. But you know what's really fun about this is when the recipient opens it, you could actually put a little tag on here that says pull if you want to, but I'm going to take a picture of this really quickly and then I'll show you what this does, okay? Okay, I took my pictures and now are you guys ready to see what this does? Now, of course, again, you could put a pull down here so the recipient knows, but all you need to do, watch, is gently tug it, and then you could pull this out and look at, there we have a nice little surprise with some money in our little sardine tin can, and I just think that is so much fun. I think my kids would go crazy over this. I think my son would really like it. But you have the little pull tab here, all curled up like a little sardine can. I just think that's so much fun. You do have to wiggle it a little bit. You just want to make sure if you do this one with the foil that you do use your craft knife and go over that top edge, because otherwise you'll tear the tab off and it won't open. So tearing that top edge is that top edge here is very, very important. So those are my cards today. A super fun pull tab and the super fun tear open card. I know this is a little bit of a longer tutorial, but I hope you enjoyed my projects. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.